What does the Bible really say about difficulties? James 1 verses 2 to 3. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Difficulties often arrive uninvited and unwanted. No one naturally wakes up hoping for problems, setbacks, or emotional strain. Yet James challenges our instinctive reaction by encouraging a shift in interpretation, not circumstance. He does not say trials are joyful by nature. Instead, he invites us to consider them joyful because of what they produce. People deal with long-term struggles, unemployment, delayed dreams, academic pressure, business failure, or emotional burnout. The difficulty itself is not the gift. The growth it triggers is. Just like physical muscles strengthen through resistance, inner strength is built through pressure. Perseverance is not passive waiting. It is active endurance. It's showing up even when motivation is gone. It's applying for jobs after repeated rejection. It's staying honest when cutting corners would be easier. Life's difficulties often test whether we truly believe what we say we believe. Many people quit not because they're incapable, but because the discomfort feels endless. James reframes difficulty as a temporary training ground, not a permanent sentence. When challenges refine your patience, discipline, and emotional maturity, you become equipped for responsibilities you couldn't previously handle. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this producing in me?" That shift alone can transform frustration into focus. Difficulties do not mean God has abandoned you. They often mean He is preparing you. John 16, verse 33. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. One of the most damaging illusions people carry. The belief that faith guarantees a trouble-free life. Jesus is clear. Trouble is not an exception. It is a certainty. What He offers is not escape from difficulty, but victory within it. Many people feel guilty or spiritually weak when things go wrong. They wonder if they prayed incorrectly, believed wrongly, or displeased God. But truth is, trouble is not evidence of failure. It is part of the human experience. Take heart. This phrase suggests courage, emotional resilience, and inner steadiness. Jesus acknowledges the reality of pain, while also declaring His authority over it. That means your current difficulty, no matter how overwhelming, does not have the final word. This is especially relatable for people facing situations beyond their control. Economic instability, health diagnoses, broken systems, or societal pressures. Jesus doesn't minimize the pain, but He reframes the outcome. Overcoming doesn't always mean instant resolution. Sometimes it means maintaining peace while the storm continues. Learn to separate your circumstances from your confidence. You can be surrounded by uncertainty and still walk with assurance. You can feel pressure without being crushed by it. Life may knock you down, but be reminded that the battle is already won at a deeper level. Your role is not to panic, but to stand firm, knowing that difficulty is temporary and victory is assured. Psalm 34, verse 19. The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all. A silent but calming confusion. If I'm doing the right thing, why is life still hard? Many people assume moral living guarantees ease. Scripture says otherwise. Righteous people are not spared from trouble. They are sustained through it. Everyday life confirms this truth. Honest people get cheated. Kind people get misunderstood. Disciplined individuals still experience loss. This verse reassures us that trouble does not cancel righteousness, and righteousness does not cancel trouble. The key promise here is deliverance, not exemption. Deliverance doesn't always mean immediate removal. Sometimes it means strength to endure, wisdom to navigate, or protection from complete destruction. God's rescue often unfolds progressively, not instantly. In daily situations, financial strain, workplace hostility, family conflict, we should be imbibed patience and trust. Deliverance may come as an opportunity you didn't expect, a relationship that supports you, or clarity that redirects you. Importantly, do not despair. Remember that troubles are many, but they are not master. God remains actively involved, even when His timing feels slow. For anyone tempted to give up because doing right isn't paying off, this verse says, stay the course. The story isn't over yet. For Isaiah 43 verse 2 NIV, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. One of the most unsettling aspects of difficulty, overwhelm. There are seasons when life does not just feel hard. It feels like too much. Responsibilities pile up, emotions run high, and problems come simultaneously. Isaiah does not describe difficulty as a shallow puddle. He uses the imagery of deep waters and raging rivers. This speaks directly to moments when people feel submerged by life. A key phrase here is when you pass through. God does not say if or maybe. Difficulty is assumed, but so is movement. It is about transition, not entrapment. The waters are real, but they are not permanent residences. Many people feel stuck emotionally or mentally because they mistake a season for a destination. There are moments like caring for a sick family member while trying to keep your job, dealing with debt while maintaining dignity, or navigating grief while still showing up for daily responsibilities. The difficulty isn't dramatic. It's draining. What God promises here is not instant relief, but sustaining presence. We are not promised the waters will disappear. We are promised that they will not overpower us. That distinction matters. Strength does not always look like escape. Sometimes it looks like endurance with support. Survival itself can be victory. You may not feel strong, but staying afloat is evidence that you are not alone. God's presence does not always remove the storm. Sometimes it ensures the storm does not define the outcome. Isaiah 43 verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. One of the most unsettling aspects of difficulty, overwhelm. There are seasons when life does not just feel hard. It feels like too much. Responsibilities pile up, emotions run high, and problems come simultaneously. Isaiah does not describe difficulty as a shallow puddle. He uses the imagery of deep waters and raging rivers. This speaks directly to moments when people feel submerged by life. A key phrase here is when you pass through. God does not say if or maybe. Difficulty is assumed, but so is movement. It is about transition, not entrapment. The waters are real, but they are not permanent residences. Many people feel stuck emotionally or mentally because they mistake a season for a destination. There are moments like caring for a sick family member while trying to keep your job, dealing with debt while maintaining dignity, or navigating grief while still showing up for daily responsibilities. The difficulty isn't dramatic, it's draining. What God promises here is not instant relief, but sustaining presence. We are not promised the waters will disappear. We are promised that they will not overpower us. That distinction matters. Strength does not always look like escape. Sometimes it looks like endurance with support. Survival itself can be victory. You may not feel strong, but staying afloat is evidence that you are not alone. God's presence does not always remove the storm. Sometimes it ensures the storm does not define the outcome. Romans 8 verse 18. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. Here we talk about the emotional weight of unfairness. Many struggles feel unbearable because they appear meaningless. Paul addresses this by introducing comparison, not between people, but between time frames. Temporary suffering is weighed against permanent transformation. There are people who are doing the right things, but seeing no immediate reward. Students studying endlessly, entrepreneurs building with no profit yet, parents sacrificing silently, or individuals healing slowly after emotional damage. The pain feels loud because the results are quiet. Paul does not deny suffering. He acknowledges it fully, but he reframes its value. He suggests that some struggles only make sense when viewed from the future. Many things that shape us most, discipline, wisdom, empathy, are born in seasons we would never choose. Let's encourage delayed interpretation. Just because something hurts now does not mean it is pointless. Some difficulties are shaping internal strength, emotional maturity, or spiritual depth that cannot be developed through comfort. Stay consistent even when life feels stagnant. Growth is not always visible. Just as seeds grow underground before breaking the surface, personal development often happens quietly. Be patient with yourself and your journey. What feels heavy now may one day feel necessary. Not all pain is permanent, and not all progress is obvious at the moment. Proverbs 24 verse 16. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Here we talk about failure, not suffering. Difficulty often shows up as repeated mistakes, missed opportunities, or poor outcomes despite effort. The number 7 symbolizes completeness, meaning the righteous do not fall once. They fall many times. People keep failing exams, relapses into bad habits, mismanage money, or struggle with consistency. The problem is not falling. It's believing fall disqualifies you. The definition of righteousness shifts from perfection to resilience. Rising again is not denial of failure. It is refusal to surrender identity to it. Falling becomes part of the journey, not the end of it. Shame tells you to stay down. Wisdom tells you to stand up again, even if it's slower than before. Let's encourage perseverance without self-hatred. You can acknowledge mistakes without letting them define your future. Rising again might mean asking for help, changing strategy, or simply trying once more with better awareness. Success is not the absence of failure, but the discipline of recovery. 1 Peter 5 verse 10. After you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. We are often afraid that suffering permanently damages a person. Many people don't just fear pain. They fear what pain will take away. Confidence, stability, identity, or emotional balance. Peter addresses this fear by introducing restoration as an intentional, divine process. The phrase, after you have suffered a little while, acknowledges duration without glorifying it. Some struggles linger long enough to make you question whether normalcy will ever return. Burnout, betrayal, prolonged financial instability, or emotional trauma can make people feel less than their former selves. Let's not pretend suffering leaves you untouched. It promises you will not be left unfinished. Restoration here is not a return to who you were before. It is transformation into someone stronger, firmer, and steadier. This means that the person who survives a hard season often has deeper emotional boundaries, clearer priorities, and stronger discernment. The loss may remain part of your story, but it no longer controls your decisions. For people rebuilding after loss, lost trust, lost opportunities, or lost years, restoration often looks slow and unglamorous. It may involve therapy, humility, discipline, or learning to ask for help. God's role here is personal. Will himself restore you? This emphasizes care, not distance. Do not rush healing or compare timelines. Strength grows quietly. Stability forms through consistency. What feels like weakness now may become the very thing that makes you unshakable later. Psalm 66 verses 10 to 12. For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. Difficulty is a process that reveals truth, not just pain. Refining silver involves intense heat, but the purpose is precision, separating what is valuable from what weakens the structure. The emphasis here is not endurance but clarity. Pressure reveals priorities. When life is comfortable, distractions thrive, but difficulty strips life down to essentials. Under stress, people discover what they truly depend on, what habits are unsustainable, and which relationships are genuine. Hard seasons clarify values. There are moments when life feels unfairly intense. You may feel tested at work, challenged in relationships, or stretched beyond capacity. The refining imagery suggests that not everything in your life is meant to continue unchanged. Some behaviors, beliefs, or coping mechanisms only surface when pressure exposes them. Refinement also explains why difficulty can feel repetitive. Heat must be applied multiple times to purify silver fully. Similarly, lessons are sometimes repeated because growth is incomplete. This is not punishment. It is precision. Choose self-examination over resentment. Ask, what is this season revealing about me? Is it showing impatience, fear of control, avoidance, or misplaced confidence? Refinement is uncomfortable because it forces honesty. The promise here is value. Silver is refined because it is worth refining. Difficulty is not proof of worthlessness. It is evidence of potential. Hebrews 12 verse 11. No, discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. There is a type of difficulty many people struggle to accept: long-term, routine discomfort. Unlike sudden crises, discipline-related hardship is slow, repetitive, and often boring. It doesn't come with dramatic stories, just daily resistance. Waking up early when you want to sleep. Saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Sticking to a process when shortcuts are available. People build habits that don't immediately pay off. Saving money instead of spending it. Studying consistently without instant results. Rebuilding trust step by step. Or choosing integrity when dishonesty would be rewarded. The pain here is subtle but persistent. It's the pain of restraint. What makes discipline difficult is not that it hurts, but that it doesn't feel heroic. There is no applause for consistency, no instant validation. Many people quit discipline paths because the discomfort feels pointless. This verse directly addresses that frustration by introducing the idea of training. Training implies intention. Athletes endure routines that look pointless to outsiders because they understand the outcome. In the same way, discipline trains character, not just behavior. It teaches self-control, emotional regulation, and delayed gratification, qualities that protect you later in life. Harvest comes only after sustained effort. Peace here is not the absence of problems, but the stability that comes from knowing you can manage yourself even when life is unstable. Some difficulties are investments. They don't feel good now because they're working for a future version of you that will need strength you don't yet have. Psalm 119, verse 71. It was good for me to be afflicted so that I might learn your decrees. Affliction often does what comfort cannot. It forces people to slow down and listen. Many individuals don't change because they lack information. They change because difficulty removes distractions. This looks like moments when life interrupts routine, burnout that forces rest, failure that demands reassessment, or loss that reorders priorities. Affliction narrows focus. It strips life down to what matters. It is saying pain can become instructive. Some lessons cannot be learned in environments of ease because ease encourages autopilot living. Difficulty disrupts that mode. For example, many people only learn boundaries after emotional exhaustion. They only learn humility after failure. They only learn empathy after suffering. Affliction becomes a teacher, not because it is kind, but because it is effective. People often want growth without disruption, but transformation requires interruption. Difficulty interrupts patterns that no longer serve growth. We are encouraged to reflect instead of resist, instead of rushing past hard seasons. It invites you to ask what they are teaching. Not everything painful is meaningless. Some pain clarifies values, strengthens discernment, and deepens understanding of life and self. Affliction becomes good not because it hurts, but because it awakens awareness. Micah 7 verse 8. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. Darkness here represents confusion, emotional heaviness, loss of direction, or mental fatigue. Sometimes the hardest difficulties are not visible. They are internal. People experience this kind of darkness during seasons of uncertainty. You may not have done anything wrong, yet clarity is gone. Motivation fades. Purpose feels distant. This verse acknowledges that darkness can exist even without dramatic collapse. I will rise is not based on feeling strong. It is a statement of intent. Rising here may not mean immediate action. It may mean refusing despair. Darkness distorts perception. It makes problems feel permanent and options feel limited. Light helps you take the next step, not see the whole path. Be patient with yourself during low seasons. Sitting in darkness does not mean you are lost forever. It means you are waiting for illumination. Rising can be subtle, seeking help, maintaining routine, choosing hope quietly. This verse reminds us that progress in dark seasons often looks slower, but it is still real. 2 Timothy 2 verse 3. Join with me in suffering, like a good soldier of Christ Jesus. Difficulty is a shared experience, not personal isolation. Soldiers do not suffer alone. They suffer in units. People often feel lonely during hardship, which shouldn't be so. Many people believe struggle is a sign of personal inadequacy. However, hardship is part of commitment. A soldier understands that discomfort does not mean something is wrong. It means training or engagement is happening. Likewise, meaningful pursuits often involve resistance. Soldiers endure hardship because they are committed to something larger than comfort. Purpose sustains endurance. You are not meant to carry everything alone. Shared struggle builds resilience and perspective. Revelation 21 verse 4. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Meaning and everyday application. This verse speaks to a dimension of difficulty that many people quietly carry: unresolved pain. Some struggles do not end with solutions, apologies, or breakthroughs. Instead, they end with scars, memories, and unanswered questions. Revelation 21 verse 4 does not promise improvement of the current system. It promises its replacement. The phrase, "the old order things," is crucial. It suggests that pain is not just a series of unfortunate events. It is part of a broken structure. Many people exhaust themselves trying to fix life so that pain never happens again. This verse gently redirects that effort. It acknowledges that some aspects of suffering are not meant to be solved within the present world. In everyday life, this verse is deeply relatable to people who live with grief that revisits them unexpectedly, chronic pain that does not disappear, or emotional wounds that resurface despite healing efforts. It offers a form of hope that does not invalidate present pain. Instead of saying be strong or move on, it says this pain has an expiration date. The image of God wiping tears is intensely personal. It implies attention, care, and intimacy. This is not distant justice. It is compassionate restoration. For people who feel their suffering has gone unnoticed by people, systems, or institutions, this verse reassures them that nothing endured is invisible. Practically, this verse allows people to live honestly. You don't have to pretend everything is fine. You don't have to force closure where none exists. You can grieve fully while still holding on to hope. This verse does not make pain smaller. It makes hope bigger. It tells us that difficulty does not define the final chapter of human experience. What hurts now will not last forever. Not because we become stronger, but because the conditions that create pain will be removed entirely. Psalm 46 verse 1. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. There are immediate moments of crisis, the instant when difficulty interrupts life without warning. Psalm 46 verse 1 speaks to the now. It is about what happens when trouble arrives before you have time to prepare. It may look like sudden bad news, unexpected bills, emotional breakdowns, panic attacks, relationship conflicts, or moments when everything feels like it is happening at once. In those moments, people don't need explanations or strategies. They need stability. Refuge is about safety before solutions. A refuge is not a place where problems are discussed. It is a place where danger loses its power. This verse presents God not as a distant advisor, but as a protective presence. Strength here does not mean you suddenly feel confident or fearless. It means you are supported beyond your capacity. Many people believe help exists but feel it is delayed or conditional. Let us understand that help is already present. Even when you don't feel it, presence does not always remove fear, but it prevents isolation, which is often what makes fear unbearable. When trouble hits, the instinct is to spiral, imagining worst-case scenarios, blaming yourself, or trying to regain control instantly. Refuge interrupts that spiral. It allows you to pause, breathe, and regain orientation. Strength does not always look like action. Sometimes strength is remaining calm. Sometimes it is choosing rest. Sometimes it is admitting you cannot handle everything alone. We are reassured that in moments when life feels unsafe, emotionally, mentally, or practically, you are not required to become strong before seeking support. Strength is supplied after you enter refuge.